Spread the word. We're truthradio.net.
All right, we're back. Thank Frank Coconati for coming in. I didn't know you were going to talk about all that stuff, man.
That was
deep. Deep piece, brother. And so we've been joined in the studio. No stranger to the Butt Naked Truth. Dr. Wesley Muhammad is in the house.
How are you, Brother Harold?
And so we were talking about marijuana a couple of days ago, and I understand, Doc, that it not only kills brain cells, but it kills sperm cells also.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that I thought was, I read an article where a doctor said that the brain is not fully developed until they're 26 years old.
Yes, sir.
And for a young person to start smoking marijuana before 26 years old is like taking water and pouring it into a computer. It's like burning it up. So
yes, sir.
You want to elaborate on that, Doc?
Yeah, even worse than that now. So smoking, not just smoking marijuana, but smoking today's marijuana.
Okay.
That qualification has to stay out there.
Okay. Smoking today.
Loud is not
Ooh.
cannabis.
Wow.
God planted cannabis. Natural cannabis, Brother Harold, has a THC content on average of 1% or less. That ain't gonna get nobody in 2019, 2020 high. Loud has THC contents of 10, 20, even 30%. That excessive THC content, and we're smoking younger today. Adolescents, preteens. That does profound damage neurologically. It does profound damage endocrinologically. The endocrine system, your hormones. Not only does it mutate sperm cells, it depletes testosterone in men. Boys growing up with low testosterone feminized. But it also raises testosterone in women. So when we talk about the pot plot, we're talking about the feminization of black males with this weaponized weed, but also the masculinization of black females with this weaponized weed. But the most insidious thing to me, Brother Harold, is now in these states where recreational marijuana is legal, such as Illinois, they are marketing this dispensary weed to pregnant women and girls. They are saying that you can quell your morning sickness, you can comfort your stomach by toking with this dispensary weed, which has this excessive THC, and what that does, that can gender disrupt your fetus. So I got in a lot of trouble for something I didn't say before. They said I said weed makes you gay. I didn't say that then.
Right.
But I am going to say that here, now. Weed isn't going to make a grown heterosexual man gay. You're not going to, a grown heterosexual man is going to smoke on a blunt and become gay. However, a pregnant mother smoking this THC excessive weed is sending her male or female child on a road to homosexuality. Yet, and in closing, who are the biggest numbers of pregnant women smoking weed? It's black girls. It's pregnant black girls are the largest percentage of pregnant smokers. So it's black babies in the womb who are exposed to this chemical
Let me ask you,
assault.
Doc, in terms of, 90% of children that get Ritalin and Prozac, they said is black boys. So in terms of the sisters that got, they call them crazy checks. You're the kid, then you turn your child over to the state. So at 5 years old, he's taking Ritalin. and then at 16 he's on Prozac, and then at 18 they emancipate him off of everything. What are the possibilities of children being on drugs for 12 years and then now taking off? What are the possibilities of them self-medicating themselves once they're taken off this medicine after being on it for 12 years?
Yeah, well, one, they would transition to recreational drugs, but two, also much of the objective has been achieved. There's an objective to this chemical assault. Black America is under a chemical assault through our food, through our water, through our alleged recreational drugs. I say alleged for a reason, because there really is no such thing as recreational drug use in Black America. All of the drugs that we indulge in were imposed on us by government agencies, from heroin to crack cocaine to marijuana. The loud that we smoke was first, before it hit our block, came through CIA laboratories. They're MDA, Molly. We popping Molly today. We taking Percocets. We drinking lean. All of these so-called recreational drugs, before we popped them or sipped them, they were weaponized in governmental labs and then imposed on us. The best example is menthol cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all think y'all smoking menthol because you like the taste, because the smoke goes down easier. 80% of Black smokers smoke menthol, but menthols was an affluent, a rich white woman cigarette in the 30s, until the tobacco companies made a discovery that was useful for the government's objective for Black America after the riots of the 60s. And they determined that the problem of the riots was angry Black masculinity in the inner cities. And they discovered, the tobacco companies in bed with the government, that tobacco, not only does it destroy the ability to produce testosterone, but it has a specific preference for Black bodies. The nicotine in tobacco has a melanin affinity, so it attaches to melanated Black pigment tissues. It binds to it and stays with it for life, releasing poisons, toxins in the body. But when you add menthol to the cigarette, the menthol increases the absorption of the nicotine in a Black body that nicotine specifically targets and attacks. So the first ethnic chemical weapon was that menthol cigarette. We smoke weed, and then we chase our weed with the menthol cigarette. All of it is, and I'm gonna say this last point. You know how we began smoking menthol cigarettes? That was not our cigarette. It was a rich white woman cigarette. The tobacco, big tobacco, invested millions of dollars to get us on menthol cigarettes, going even so far as to hosting ethnic field trips, where they sent company vans to Black neighborhoods, Black parks, and spent hours in these Black areas passing out free menthol cigarettes to any Black person, including especially children. This is how menthol cigarettes were what they call African Americanized.
So let me ask you this: MDMA was founded and put in America by psychiatrists in 1913. How the hell our kids get it 100 years later?
Yeah, right. Because the MDMA that our children have is not the MDMA that was synthesized by the Germans in 1930.
Okay.
The Molly that we're popping is a brainchild of Dr. Alexander Shulgin, a Russian Jew government biochemist who was responsible for not only giving the government the formula to weaponize marijuana. He's the one that synthesized this form of MDMA that is the Molly that is being popped by black people and promoted by hip hop artists. It's a specific synthesis that we are popping of MDMA. So the 1913 Merck MDMA, we not popping that. We're popping Alexander Shulgin's that was created, synthesized in a government laboratory, our Molly. And it was classified, we call it Molly. The government called it EA 1475.
So
Experimental agent 1475.
So let me ask you this. The minister told people for the last many years, but here recently, told the people to watch the weather. And it was just recorded that this is the wettest, rainiest, Wally, year in the history of America. In the Midwest, Ohio, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois, 90% of the farmers didn't grow anything.
Right, that's right.
And they opt out for crop
right.
insurance.
That's right.
And so they kept saying is, hope that it dries up in March, because you got to go on the ground at the end of March, and hope that the weather don't go below 32 degrees. The frost kills the plant. So then they tried in April, they tried in May, and they showed tractors in June and July just stuck under 4 feet of water in the farm fields. And so with the weaponized food already coming out of Mexico, and peach, fresh produce, and Whole Foods and Jewels and Dominick's, all of them are stuck, Wally, because they have to purchase this stuff out of Mexico. Not to mention the $15 billion that Trump gave to farmers, that black farmers didn't get any of it. But he gave it because the Chinese said, we're not buying your soybeans or your corn. Well, they ain't have no soybeans or corn to sell because of this is the rainiest, wettest year, 2019, in the history of America. They've never seen anything like this. And so what they're not telling you is that around January 1st, Wally, that this food shortage is going to hit. Because I remember I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I went in Sam's Club a couple Sundays ago, and I've never seen it empty. I mean, all the stuff was gone. This is on a Sunday night. I came back, I had to stop there. I was actually in Home Depot, and I stopped at Sam's on 26 and Cicero, and it was empty. And Illinois only has enough food to last 3 days. So every 3 days, Illinois, if they don't get any shipments of food, then it becomes a problem. But I guess what the question I'm asking you, Doc, is now more than ever, they can sell you some weaponized food and you won't even ask where it came from.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what's your take on that?
I mean, you said it right. We will never be free so long as our mouths are in the kitchen of our enemy. And everybody doesn't smoke weed. Everybody doesn't smoke menthols, but everybody eats food.
That's right.
And that is the main vector for this chemical war. We have to understand that the war that's being fought by God and Satan over black people, follow this. The battlefield of that war, Brother Wale, is a periodic table. The battlefield of the war between God and devil for black people occurs on a periodic table. What do I mean by that? It is our biochemistry. Our biochemistry is where both God is investing his effort to save, to resurrect black people, And our biochemistry is where Satan, our enemy, is investing his effort to totally destroy black people. Now, how do you fight a war through biochemistry? Through chemistry. Our food is chemistry. Our water has been made chemistry. Our recreational drugs are chemistry. These are all chemical weapons in a war that's being waged on a periodic table. Or through the periodic table. But the theater of that war is our human body.
Okay.
Our biochemistry is the theater of that war.
So in terms of the weaponized food, you know, yesterday we were talking about the Battle of Vicksburg under siege, and how General Grant defeated General Pemberton, and how they did it, Doc, was in 45 days. They took the port where Mississippi is, where the port is, and they didn't let anything come in and out. And then at night they did the shellings of just shooting in the air so the people couldn't sleep at night. And so when you look at North Lawndale, Roseland, Inglewood, Austin, and West Humboldt Park, and you hear the shooting all night long, and these food deserts were now Dollar General just merged with Family Dollar, and now they have a $22 billion industry together. And they did an article the other day, Wally. They said, we don't want the whole food customer. We don't want the jewel dominant customer. We don't want the customer that we want is the customer that's in a food desert that can walk to one of our stores. And that we want to sell
shrimp from a dollar store.
Yeah, we want to buy the banquet dinners, which is $1. I looked at one of them one time, Wally, and it had like 1,800 milligrams of sodium. Yeah. And I said, and then a senior citizen told me, those are the dinners that they give the seniors in these nursing homes, these banquet dinners. And so the dollar store, which is selling this processed food, Doc, you know, we had it with Aldi's and Food for Less and Save-A-Lot, but Aldi's is owned by Trader Joe's. So Trader Joe's, they send the nice stores up to the north side, they give us Aldi's.
Right. That's right.
They Food for Less, they give the white people Kroger's, they give us Food for Less.
That's right.
Save-A-Lot, we got those, and Jules,
right.
Albertisons, they send the Jewel stores in the other communities, but give us the Save-A-Lots. And so we have all of this processed food in these stores, and now you got Target and Walmart in the game, selling these cheap dinners but what I'm saying, Doc, how important is that one of the things we said yesterday, Wally, is where on the west and south side of Chicago can we actually sit down and get some Brussels sprouts, some cauliflower, some green vegetables other than greens. Right. Where on the west side? So somebody said, well, MacArthur's on the west side. Well, he used canned greens. Right. And so he used canned greens. I saw his truck one day. It's a true story. And he was backing up, and I saw him. Hey, what's up, MacArthur? He was at an Aldi store.
Damn.
And they bought a forklift out, and he had it on a pallet. Canned corn, canned greens, canned string beans, and a whole bunch of Jiffy Mix.
That's that.
What do you call that?
Farina bread?
No, Jiffy Mix for cornbread. Yeah. And I was like, man, I didn't even know that this guy sold canned stuff. So we couldn't come up with any place on the south side or west side that we can actually go in where somebody would come in as a waiter or waitress and give you a healthy menu and say, here's a healthy menu.
That's extremely
we couldn't do it, Wally. We couldn't even name one place.
That's extremely revealing.
Other than Soul Vegetarian.
which has all that soy in it. I
Oh
appreciate.
yeah, with the soy. Yeah, that's a
I
whole nother
appreciate
story. Tell us about the overabundance of soy.
Yeah, soy isn't a whole nother story. Soy is a story. Soy is this very story we're talking about.
Because 40% of the food going into the prisons has a soy supplement in it.
Yeah.
That's why I never ate it.
So what
What's
does
the
that do?
percentage?
Doc? What does that do?
Soy
It's
is
the whole thing.
one of the most effective chemical weapons. Let me say this to preface it, because listening to what you just revealed, what are we talking about here? Brother Harold and family. The clearest sign of a free man and woman is that they produce their own food. The clearest sign of a slave is that he or she is dependent upon his enemy for his food. So I don't care how many foreign cars you push. I don't care how many pensions you got.
Right.
I don't care how fly your drip is. You are not free if you are dependent on your enemy for your food. And we are illustrating, you are illustrating why that is important. Soy. Did you know that 60% of grocery store food has been infused by what they call bioenhanced with soy isolate protein?
Soy filler and stuff, yeah.
Wow. And they aren't even required
To tell you.
to list it. Wow. Soy is a chemical weapon. Soy is a very ugly thing. One, it's estrogenic. It turns into estrogen in your body. And so you, my vegan family, I respect my vegan family, but unfortunately too many of the vegan diets are heavily soy based. So you feed your children this soy based diet. And your son grows up and he starts developing man boobs, man breasts, gynecomastia. And his frame is profoundly thin. Did you notice, Brother Harold and Brother Wesley? See, I'm sitting here, this robust masculinity. Ain't no skinny, thin, curvy brothers
exactly.
up here. But if you notice, the millennials and the Gen Z males in particular, they're very slender.
That's why they got them skinny jeans.
Very
They make the
skinny.
clothes for them.
Yeah, they really skinny.
You're hard pressed to find a robust, traditionally robust masculinity.
It's from the soy?
today. It's from the soy and the weed.
Wow.
Because it inhibits the development. The small frame you see is because the bones are fragile.
Right.
That soy makes the bones fragile. That weed makes the bones fragile. So what they are describing is the lack of secondary masculine sexual characteristics. That soy prohibits because it becomes estrogen in the body. It prohibits the development of secondary male sexual characteristics. So, and going back to weed, so notice, I like Young Dolph. I'm a Young Dolph fan. Those of you who know Young Dolph, our brother, that's my man. He's tall and skinny, right? Like Snoop, tall and skinny. Like Wiz Khalifa, tall and skinny. Now, they have something in common other than being tall and skinny.
Smoke a lot of weed.
Young Dolph said he started smoking weed before he was in 5th grade. They illustrate physically the effect of smoking weed before or during adolescence.
Okay.
It prohibits the development of secondary male sexual characteristics. And so their body is fragile and delicate rather than robustly traditional masculine. The soy does that and this weed does
So hold
that.
it 1 second, Doc. I want to bring our sister in.
Though I love my brothers, Snoop, Young Dolph, Wiz Khalifa. I
wonder why those guys so
but-
skinny. I didn't know it was.
Yeah.
I figured because they smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And they didn't eat much.
And
but-
their secondary sexual masculine characteristics have been inhibited.
So is the soy have estrogen in it?
The soy becomes it's a phytoestrogen, a plant-based
okay,
estrogen. It
okay.
becomes estrogenic in the body, and there's another thing it does. It is a mineral robber. Soy has a chemical. When you eat soy, phytic acid develops in your body. That phytic acid robs you of the critical minerals you need. For example, zinc. Who in the world has the highest prostate cancer
Black men.
incident?
Black
Men in America
Right.
have the highest prostate cancer incident. And do you know, Brother Harold, when they examine cancerous prostate cells, they notice that there is a dearth, an absence of zinc. So artificially causing a zinc deficiency creates prostate cancer. How do you artificially create a zinc deficiency? By feeding soy. Because that soy, when it releases phytic acid in your body, it robs you of the zinc.
Wow.
The zinc can't metabolize in your body. And so you suffer a zinc deficiency.
Hold
Soy
right there.
is the enemy.
1 second, Doc. I want to incorporate sister in the conversation. Go ahead and introduce yourself. You got the mic.
Hi, I'm Sandy Schneller.
Okay.
Running for
Like I
Illinois
said, if
State
I
Rep
saw
for the
that
ninth
name and didn't
district.
see her, I would think she was somebody other than a black person. And so this sister was at the forum Saturday. And so go ahead, sister, tell us what you're running for.
I'm running for Illinois State Rep for the 9th District. That covers part of the near north side and a lot of the west side, going up to the K-Town and West Garfield area.
Now that's Art Turner's old district.
Yes, it is.
And he's not running
Currently,
again.
I'm not certain of that. That's
Okay.
allegedly.
Okay, but he's not running again. Is that true?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so give the boundaries again.
The boundaries, on the east side, it goes to LaSalle Street, and there's a short section that's north and south there. It carries on a little trail in Lincoln Park area up to Armitage, and then it spews out to the west side to K-Town area.
So you got North
From
Lawndale.
the North Lawndale.
Okay. West
and the
Garfield.
West Garfield area. It goes, as the further you go west, it starts beginning on southbound, and that starts more so at the expressway and go to 22nd Street.
So some of the
So
things that the doc
it's part
is.
of South Loop
Okay.
as well, a little bit of Pilsen in there.
So you got rich folks and real poor folks.
Yeah, I got the conglomerate of them all, yeah.
So with the doc here in West Garfield and North Lawndale, the concerns of the diets with those young people or the people self-medicating themselves. I see young people on the bus stop, 13, 14, smoking weed now every morning. And so what are some of the things that you would suggest by listening to Dr. Wesley here to help those young people who get high with their mamas, get high with their grandmamas,
No such
go
thing.
home and drink with their mamas and grandmamas, that there's no real influence telling them not to do it. And
So true.
and the study I read the other day said that if they are smoking before and smoking at 13 or 14, and the brain, the decision-making part of the brain is not fully developed until you're 26, it's like pouring water in a computer, burning brain cells up.
Absolutely.
And so what are some of the things that you would be willing to do in terms of helping that population?
Well, the doctor, he raised some concerns definitely everybody should be aware of and alert of as well. And I see the difference, and I grew up on the near north side of the district actually, and that's on the near north side, what I specified earlier. I see the difference in the resources that are available from the near north side versus the west side. You go to the near north side and you're living In a higher scale, upscale, you have everything available to you at your fingertips within walking distance, pretty much. All of the healthy food items you have there. You have all of the resources that are walkable to you. You have fitness centers almost on every block. You have banks available. You have everything that's imaginable that you would want to have on the near north side of the district. And the further, and I might say as well, the people on the near north side of the district has an age expectancy to live 90 years old, okay?
Right,
As we
right.
travel to the west side of that district, the resources start depleting.
60
Once you-
years old.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the age expectancy, the further west of the district is 60 years old.
30-year difference.
A
30-year
huge
gap.
difference, absolutely. And what do we attribute that to? Well, as I mentioned, available resources. Now, food deserts on the west side, the food that you have available is very scaled down, and that's the foods that's more available to you are the poisons that they sell in the stores, the processed foods, and the foods that contain lots of soy, as the doctor said here. So we must be mindful of that and educate our people, the forgotten people, I call them. And unfortunately, many of our people are forgotten. And it could be black, brown, it could be yellow, whatever, but the underserved people are the forgotten people. We feed them the crap. And I call it crap because it is crap. We provide them with all of the things that we think are the niceties. Oh, we're going to have the cannabis stores in your area. Yes, I was for that in a sense at one point until I started digging deeper and researching more of that and where they're placing these stores and who they're marketing it more to. So those are things we need to take a look at as well. That within itself is depleting our livelihoods, our lives altogether.
So Doc, 30-year
Life
difference.
expectancy gap.
In Inglewood and Streeterville,
Yeah.
less than 8 miles away.
Absolutely.
Well, how does that happen?
Very scientifically, I tell you, I've been so impressed by this white man here in Chicago. The way he scientifically segregates Chicagoland, I can only compare it to this sister. Years ago, I was in Ann Arbor. Me and my children were walking nice neighborhoods. We're just walking, sunny day, and I'm enjoying my children, so I wasn't really paying attention to my surroundings. Right. This dog runs out from the yard, right? So I know not to run. My children get behind me. I know not to run because the dog would chase us. So I'm squaring up with this dog, right, as it's about to do anything. But I noticed he didn't leave the yard. He's barking, and I'm squaring up, but he doesn't leave the yard. This white lady comes out the house. She says, "Don't worry. He can't get out of the yard. I have an invisible fence around the yard." I never knew what an invisible fence was, but that dog was restricted. That science is here in Chicago.
Wow.
The way the communities are so scientifically segregated here, one of the reasons for the 30-year life expectancy gap, this is the very air that is breathed in Evanston is of a different chemical composition than the air breathed in Inglewood. It's of a different chemical composition. Inglewood inhales particulate matter at a rate that in Evanston they do not. In Inglewood, the air contains these endocrine disruptors at a level that in Evanston it does not. So the very air that we inhale is of a specifically different chemical composition. You got to ask yourself, how do you segregate air? very scientifically.
So let me ask you this, and I want Sister to can you give us some background on your body of work prior to you running for office?
Absolutely. I come out of corporate, academia, and healthcare. I worked in corporate with training corporations actually to upsurge their operations. I've also worked in academia, teaching from pre-K through post-secondary in the Chicago Public Schools as well as the university in politics. And I also am now in healthcare, the healthcare arena, and I cover the state of Illinois and parts of Wisconsin for a healthcare organization that provides services to skilled nursing facilities with physicians and nurse practitioners.
So this healthcare thing is a big thing, and I want to ask you, Doc.
And particularly mental health we should be focusing on as well, because there's such a
agree.
huge spark in mental health cases, and people are not provided with the medical services,
So, but you know,
and particularly underserved
in that forum,
communities.
it was a couple people in that forum that stuck out, and you were one of them, because
Thank you.
because you weren't a career politician. You wasn't saying the same thing everybody. I mean, they've been saying for the last 50 years, I want better schools, better houses, and better jobs. And that seemed to be the only platform that they understand to run on, because they really don't have a platform. And so why I had no interest in talking to that guy or the other people who were running in the 9th district, because I knew that they weren't serious. And so I didn't want to, you know, I know that being a moderator, you can't show favoritism, but being a moderator, it's time out for playing games with our people now.
Absolutely.
And so our people
We're
are
at
dying.
a crisis.
Our people are dying. Our people don't have any opportunities. And for these people to sit in a forum and sit there all pious as though somebody ought to vote for them. Don't invite me to a forum if you don't want me to do what's right. Because I'm the so-called questions they gave me asked about better schools, better houses, and better jobs. That's the same thing James Baldwin said, Dr. Wesley. In 1968, after King died, the round table discussed, they said, so tell us, Mr. Baldwin, what do you want? We want better schools, better jobs, and more opportunities. That's what he said.
And fast forward 40, 50 years later, we're still talking about the same thing.
The Kerner Commission, which went out in 68, they came out and revisited Dr. Wesley. They say black people were better off in 1968 than they are today.
I would agree
The
with that.
Kerner Commission.
I don't even know that per se, but through reading, but I can experience it now, and we are definitely at a disadvantage today than we were in the 70s even.
Right. So,
And that is our fault.
so let me
We
ask
are
you
at
another,
fault
let
to
me ask you
that.
another question, Doc. Is there something, Doc, that they can put in the air that'll bypass white people and hit us?
They're called ethnic weapons.
Yeah.
The
Can you elaborate?
military created ethnic weapons. Weapons, cause see, which of course gives the lie to the myth that all people are the same.
Yeah.
That race is a myth. Now, race ideology is flawed, right? But white people and black people are not the same. And the genetic biochemical differences among people allowed the military to craft ethnic weapons. Gases, for example, that you can release in a room filled with many different people, but only certain genetic types will be impacted by that chemical. That's an ethnic weapon. And I said the chemical composition of the air in Inglewood is different than the chemical composition of the air in Evanston. Some of the chemicals in the air in Inglewood are actual ethnic weapons. Now, let me say this, because our dear sister brought up or alluded to legalization of marijuana here in Illinois.
Oh, go ahead, Doc. Sorry.
And I have to say,
Go ahead.
even though I know that in the mass incarceration regimes that hauled off so many black fathers, black sons, black brothers into these often private prisons, I am, of course, very much against the mass incarceration regimes. Most of those who are languishing in prison as a result are there on a drug charge, specifically a marijuana charge. So of course, any opportunity to get our family out of these prisons and to stop putting into this mass incarceration regime, feeding these prisons through the criminalization of marijuana, I'm not with that. But with that being said, I am absolutely not a co-signer of the marijuana legalization movement. That's the biggest trick that our enemy has played on us, the marijuana legalization movement. And here in Illinois, as I watch this movement go from state to state, the most pathetically impressive of the movements is here in Illinois. The Illinois marijuana legalization movement is very insidious. The traps that they are setting for us here in Illinois is very insidious, and Illinois, I'm suspecting, will outdo Colorado in this very depressing stat.
Let's take the call. Got a call? Hello, caller. Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
With the recent mass hysteria over this chicken sandwich, do you believe that was planted in our communities to create a further disease, or has there been any research concerning that Popeye's chicken sandwich?
Yes,
is
sir.
Crazy. So bad.
Yes, sir. I got a lot to say about that Popeye's chicken sandwich craze.
And its weapon.
It is weapon. Well, first, you should already, your antennas should go up when you realize that we all thought Popeyes was a black chicken joint, didn't we? Because the
Never.
commercials
Right.
have the sister that we thought was the creator of Popeyes.
Yeah.
She ain't have nothing to do with the origin of Popeyes.
Didn't Popeyes eat spinach? Ain't no
White
spinach,
boys
no
created Popeyes, but just think about this. Popeyes was created by white people, but their exclusive marketing is to black people.
Right.
They've never mixed up their marketing. It's always the black woman
Right.
who's marketing Popeyes. That means their exclusive target audience is black people. So when a white food outlet, restaurant, fast food restaurant, has a transparently total target market as black people, that alone should let you know there's something going on here.
And not just with that, we tend to have all of these fried food restaurants in underserved communities. You see them more so, and specifically I'm talking about the 9th District now, you see them more so as you travel further west. As you travel further east, they're fewer and far between. What's wrong with that picture? We are feeding the poison. Fried food is poison.
I got things for you, Ms. Shona. People are asking, how do they get a hold of you? How do they help you? And do you have any contact information you give over there?
Absolutely. You can contact me at my cell phone number. This is the same cell phone number that my dad has and my son has, 312-953-3503. We do need help. Because we want to get out there and we want to roll up our sleeves and get to work for the people. We are here for the health, interests, rights, and needs of the people.
Let me say this. When you eat that
Popeyes
chicken sandwich, you're eating soy, just FYI.
So let me ask you this. So Popeyes, didn't he eat spinach?
Yeah.
Or they sell spinach?
He didn't have canned, did he have canned
Yeah,
spinach?
they open it
We
up.
should not be eating
But-
canned
No.
spinach.
But
That
the
is
churches,
absolutely correct.
chicken, they said that when they opened up churches, they made sure that they opened it up around, they got started around churches. And so the people would leave church and go get the church's chicken. But I think the problem is you'll be hard pressed to find the largest majority owner of Popeyes in the country is Bruce Rauner, from a former governor. So you'd be hard pressed to find any individual franchise owners with Popeyes or Church's Chicken or KFC. We
I
don't
wonder how
exist.
much of that do they eat?
Exactly. But remember the group that Ed Burke was fighting with, Burger King, that's an Asian group that owns over 600 Burger Kings and Popeyes across the nation. And so it'd be hard pressed to even find a black franchise owner of a Popeyes or KFC or Church's Chicken.
Harold.
So here, Doc.
I want to say, in prison, when they calm the people down, they use the TV and the food. It's all soy.
So a few good women say you got their endorsement.
Wonderful. Love it.
Michelle, and so people are asking again, repeat your information, but go slow. They say because
Okay.
they're writing it down.
Rotary phone.
My-
Go ahead.
I forgot about the rotaries. Okay. 312-953-3503. Once again, 312-953-3503.
What about
You can also
Facebook?
look me up on Facebook. It's under Sandra, Sandra, and my middle name, actually, I have it Sandy with an I, and Schneller.
Where you get that German name from?
Schneller is quite German, jawohl. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Where you get it from?
Actually, it's my married name.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
I'm divorced now, and
Okay.
I will tell the public that.
Okay,
I am
okay.
divorced now. I kept the name for my son after the divorce.
Okay,
Because he didn't want to
okay.
be the only Schneller in the household.
Okay, so Ms. Hicks say you got her endorsement, and she's checking with the other folks, but you got her endorsement, and a lot of people are asking for your information, so I'm texting your number.
Thank
to
you, people.
Okay.
Thank you. Please
And
call.
And so you got Miss Shelby over there. That's a good person to talk to too.
Hey, how you
And
doing?
so Doc, so you got to, every time you come here, Doc, it ain't enough time. And so the pot plot, how can people get that?
Well,
How can people get your books?
they can go to www.
Give them the names of the books.
Yeah, so our latest, Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity, Volume 1, and also upcoming Volume 2, which focuses on the pot plot. I just have to say, when you talk about mental health in the black community, you have to talk about the pot plot.
Okay.
Because this weed disorchestrates the brain.
Wow.
They are saying now that the symptoms of chronic smoking of this weed are similar to schizophrenia. So the phenotype, the mental disorder phenotype of a chronic weed smoker is similar to schizophrenia.
Wow.
So you can't talk about mental health in the black community without talking about the impact of legalization of marijuana in black America. So Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity, Volume 1 and Volume 2, which focuses on the pot plot. I can be accessed at drwesleymuhammad.info, also on the various social media platforms, Wesley Muhammad.
Okay. And so Doc's been here a few times with us. Always welcome him and Sister Selna. It's your first, but not your last time. We
Thank
wanna
you.
make
I hope
sure-
not.
Want to make sure that you come on pretty regular during the election.
Thank
so
you.
that,
Appreciate
so
that.
that people will know who you are. And so, Red, what you got? The big payback?
Yes, sir.
Can you hang around for his show?
Probably
gotta
for
go?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
Okay.
You got? Did you park downstairs?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I
okay,
parked on
okay.
the street.
So You got a few, can you hang around? Your show starts at 4:30, right? Okay, Doc, can you hang around?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
all
sir.
right, for the big payback. All right, we out of time with my show, but the big payback is coming up, so come on and sit up here,
Okay.
sister. That's it for us, the undisputed, untold, uncut, uncensored, unbought, unapologetic, straightforward, down the middle, butt naked truth. We say the things most you're afraid to think about or dream about. Liberation without continuation of the miseducation, misinformation to the black man and black woman, down with the accommodators, up with the liberators. Trade with those who trade with you. Buy black, bring your dollars back. We see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and we're going to big payback, Red Ross with Dr. Wesley Muhammad and Sister Sandy Shellner. They'll be on deck.
It's nothing but the butt naked truth. Butt naked truth. Hey, it's the butt naked truth. Butt naked truth. Hell, won't you break it down for us?
You really don't understand, do you?
They really
Hey, man, don't you realize in order for us to make this thing work, man, we've got to get rid of the pimps and the pushers and the prostitutes and then start all over again clean.
Hey, look, nobody's pushing me anyway, okay?
Truth Radio, because half the truth is a whole lie. Truth Radio.